Hello and welcome. I am Joan Turner, resident artiste at the Drake Council on Aging. And thanks to the Drake Cultural Council and the Friends of the Drake Elderly, we are bringing you yet another tutorial. And before I get into it even a little bit more, I want to say happy first day of Hanukkah to all of our friends who celebrate Hanukkah. And today we are going to try to put this on this, okay? And if you got a chance to pre-paint it white, then absolutely you are ready to rock and roll. If you did not, go ahead and do so now, okay? It has some white paint, and I'm actually just going to pour it on the back of that because this one actually is already painted white. And I'm just going to put a second coat of white on there. Ta-ta, okay? So, and while that is drying a little bit, we're going to go over what we're going to need for this project. And I will tell you that this is the absolute first time that I am doing this project as well. Okay, so it should be a lot of fun. Okay, so do one coat, let it dry, then do a second coat. All right, and now while that is happening, let me tell you that for this picture, you will need your brushes, small, medium, and large. And the large basically just to paint that cutout. We call them flower cutouts because they kind of look like a flower. All right, and if you picked up one of the Drake Council on Aging art packs, you have one of these, and it comes with a little burlap tie here. Take the tie out, just untie it, take it out, but save it because we want to put it back on after we're done with the piece. Okay, so we're gonna take this and put it somewhere where we are not going to lose it. This picture, it would be really awesome to have a smaller detail brush, and small detail brush is one that kind of doesn't you can make, don't tell anyone I told you this, you can make a small detail brush by just kind of separating them a little bit, and I like cut the hairs off, some of it, not all of it, like I cut them off this way and then just leave just a few like hairs left. All right, so do it on an extra brush or a brush that you don't mind, because obviously it's not like hair on your head is not going to grow back. Okay, so it'd be nice to have a detail brush. Okay, and for colors, all right, for colors, we are going to use red, of course. And I actually took out a little bit of orange too. I'd like to make them a little bit more vivid than what you see here. Naturally, we gotta change them up. Green, okay, green is gonna go in here. I took out some brown, okay, in case there's some nuts or something going on over here. Um, that's not the technical term, but there's some brown ones and there's some green ones. And you should have a copy of this handout in your DCOA art pack. If you do not, and you're doing this on your own, you're using your own art supplies, the newsletter should have a picture of this. You can look at that, or if you're getting the newsletter online, you could print it out or just have it nearby. Okay, but you should be able to get a copy of this. Now it says "Joy to the World" in there. You could put your family name in there. You could put Happy Hanukkah in there. Okay, so actually anything that you want. You're going to go ahead and put "Joy to the World" in there. Okay, because I think whether you're Jewish or Christian or Muslim, I'm sure you don't mind a little bit of joy in the world. Okay, so I thought this would be a really good piece. All right, so we have our red and green. You always need to have white and black nearby. And now that I said that, I don't have any black nearby. So I will remedy that situation immediately, if not sooner. Ta-da! Black paint, which, oh, I got it open. I'm like impressed with myself. Okay, so there is some kind of federal gold or a yellow gold with a little bit of brown. This is almost like a brown mustard type color. Okay. If you have it and you want to use a metallic gold for some of these, that would be very cool also. And a little bit of a trick if you might have gold nail polish. And I'm not saying paint with the gold nail polish, but you could actually trim with gold nail polish or clear nail polish. And you gentlemen can borrow from your wives or significant others, sisters, all right? So you should be able to find everything you want. Plus, you don't have to do it at all. Remember that you're the creator. You get to do what you want to do because it's your picture. You need palettes, okay? You can use palette paper. Palette paper is actually paper that's wax lined. And you just throw it away when you're done. I find that paper plates work absolutely marvelous, and if you have kind of wax-coated paper plates, that's even better. Okay. Obviously, you need a cutout. All right. If in fact you don't have a cutout and it's drying nicely, if you don't have a cutout, you could actually paint on anything. All right, this is done on a square canvas. You could do it on a piece of wood. You could do it on 300-pound watercolor paper if your heart desired. So don't feel as though you're really kind of tied into anything. Okay, you are the creator. You can do whatever your heart desires. So we can change this up a little bit. We can add more flowers. We can take some flowers out. Joy to the world. You can freehand draw it in there. You could use stencils. Okay. So there's any, just relax. Just have a good time. That's what it's all about, kids. Okay. So let me see. Paper towels. Always got to have lots and lots of paper towels because we make a mess. I make a mess. Okay. Water. You need water to clean your brushes. And I usually put out a couple of tins of white paint. Oh, another thing that you might want to have nearby, like cotton swabs. Okay, now you could certainly use them for dotting if you wanted to put dots on there. But what I find is that if you make a little mistake, you can kind of clean it up right away in a small area with a cotton swab. Okay, so good to have them nearby, not necessary, but just good to have nearby. Right, so with all of that, oh, I know what you'll need. You'll need a pencil because we're going to put guidelines on. We always feel better when we have guidelines on. And it should be, that pencil marks should be extremely light. Obviously, they have to be dark enough for you to see the little Dickenses, but they should be light enough so that after the paint dries, the design dries on it, that you can actually erase them without too much of a problem. Okay, my darlings, I have to say, I'm excited. The only other thing that you need is hot cocoa. And then once you get your hot cocoa, my darlings, it is time to go right ahead and do our thing. All right, so pencil. I do have a pencil here. Okay, so I think the very first thing I will do is just pick a spot kind of in the middle and just kind of write joy to the world on here. And I think I will use, Now you do it in pencil. I am going to use paint so that you can actually see it because on camera, I'm not really sure you can see that great. So let me see about getting the camera focused on the artwork. Yeah. Okay. And I'm not using an easel today. You could use an easel, but I find it's just as easy to kind of hold it. All right. So Joy to the World. In the handout, Joy to the World is actually in a brown color. I'm wondering, brown, black, anything on that idea would be okay. I think for Christmassy kind of colors, black, white, red, green, those are gold, those are all kind of Christmassy colors to me. You can make it purple if you want to. You can make it any color that you want. All right. I think I'm going to go with the black. So, like I said, do a couple, do it, a paper plate is just about the size of one of these flowers. So maybe practice Joy to the World. Okay. So, and again, you could print it, you could write it, just use your own handwriting, or you could use stencils. There are lots of stencils out there. And a good way is to like just practice right on the plate. Joy, and then small letters to that, and then big letters, world. Okay, and like I said, I think I'm going to make mine black. So, okay, you do it in pencil. I'm going to do it in black so that you can actually see it. Woohoo! That black is black. It's a bright kind of black. And I'm going to move this guy over. And see, let me see. I'm actually This black is pretty thick. And I'm really interested in kind of creating some guidelines here. It's not going to be like the finished lettering. I just need to know where the lettering is going to go because um, we're going to start actually with our design. Okay, so Joy to the World. I actually, like I said, I kind of practiced it for a while first. So I'm going to use the paint to put this on here. Okay, so that's my J. Okay, and again, I'm just kind of watering down this paint. All right, so practice. Stop, stop the recording. Practice. Okay, so there's my Joy, and it doesn't need to be perfect. These gifts don't have to be perfect. I'm saying gift because I'm thinking I would like to gift this. Okay. All right. So there's my Joy. And again, stop the recording, practice on your paper plate. You want to get this part. You want to be comfortable with what we're doing here. Okay, there's my little two. So I'm doing the to the in small letters. Okay, and remember, do yours in pencil for right now. That way, if you don't like it, you can erase it. Unlike me. Okay, to the joy to the. Okay, and now the world, we're going to kind of make it bigger. So I'm not, doing the lettering exactly like this. I'm kind of doing my own version here. Like I said, you can just print it. does not have to be the same thing that is here. Doesn't have to be like mine either. Okay, so just doing this slowly. Okay, so there's my W. Oops, too much paint on the brush. And remember to take your time. Now that I say that. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to make this a big long letter here. Because we're painting these on here, you can actually rework them if you have to. And like I said, we can worst comes to worst, you can paint over it and redo it. That's okay too. Okay, here's my joy to the world. Now, I think it looks okay. All right, so these are kind of guidelines. At some point, we may want to add to them or perfect the letters a little bit here. But for now, at least we know where they're going to be. All right, so here's joy to the world. Okay, so I'm going to clean off. I'm actually going to clean off this little detail brush. Okay, let me see. Let's do this. Make sure it's nice and clean. I'm going to put it right here. Because now we still want to kind of make some more lines here. We want to actually figure out where things are going to be on here. And like I said, does not need to be perfect. Most definitely doesn't need to be perfect, but we want it to be colorful. And so I am going to pick some spots to make my red flowers. And I am going to use red. That's if there really is any left in here. It doesn't feel like it actually, but in the interest of not being wasteful, I am going to see if in fact there's more in here. As a matter of fact, let's take this cover right off of here and see. Okay, and I'm gonna say, ah, look at that. Hello. All right, so I'm thinking this could be the end for this little guy. So let's put him over here. And I do have another almost empty. Did you think red? Red is one of my favorite colors? Okay, so for these flowers, okay, same thing, just kind of guidelines for now because what we have here is just kind of an empty white. Okay, so I'm thinking let's put in some of these flowers, but not finished, just kind of, I think, I'm going to put one like right here and right here. See, I'm putting dots where I'm thinking my flowers are going to go. And there's some white poinsettias on here too. And this flower down here is not even really a flower. I mean, a poinsettia, and neither is that one. And there's a white poinsettia over here. So look really closely. All right, so I'm going to put in where my poinsettias are. All right, so there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, and there's a red flower kind of there. And ours is not perfectly run because it's a flower shape. So I think my red flower is going to go here. So see my red dots? Ah, okay. So I'm using red for guidelines because I want the flowers to be red. Now, watch what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of making like crisscrosses, all right? And make those kind of crisscrosses as big as you want the flower to be. Now, I know that that looks kind of anti-intuitive or counterintuitive, but see where each one of those lines are, I'm going to put a poinsettia petal. Okay, so I'm going to take a small brush, but not a detail brush, and I'm going to put it into my red paint and then watch carefully. I'm going to, let me see if I can do this way, just like this and like this. I'm making a poinsettia petal. Okay, see that poinsettia petal? Okay, gonna put another one here, like that. All right, so if you dip your brush into your paint and then you just in one stroke press kind of hard and then ease up, see what happens. I don't know if anyone is familiar with Donna Dewberry, but she kind of perfected like one strokes. And even though we're not doing Donna Dewberry type strokes here, we still can do one, one stroke for each petal. So pressing down and then easing up, pressing down and then easing up. So I'm doing that for each one of my guidelines here, pressing down and picking up. That one could be a little bit better. So I'm going to redo it. I'm painting with it kind of up in the air here. So we're going to have to redo a couple here. That's okay. Um, because this is a wood cutout, it kind of eats up the paint like really, really fast. Okay, so if you have some that don't have proper points on them, go ahead and use your detail brush and put some points on there. You are the creator. You do it, baby. Okay. So if you have anything that you don't like, now would be the time to fix it. Okay, so I have a little tiny poinsettia plant there. Okay, and now I am going to take some orange and put it on my plate or palette paper or whichever it is that you're using. And I'm going to put that on there as well and take the excess off of there. And I'm going to, with the very same brush, I'm not even going to clean the brush. I'm going to leave the red paint on the brush, but I am going to dip it into the orange and I'm going to do in between the petals that are there. Okay, with this kind of orangey, beautiful, it really brings out the color here. Okay. I'm going to get a teensy bit of white here. Put a little white out on my palette. And then I am going to just take the excess off this brush. I'm not going to wash it. I'm just taking the excess paint off. And then with my white, watch, let's see if I can do it. Yeah. Okay, doing another layer of petals. Okay, so we're doing the same thing we did before. We're pressing down, easing up, pressing down, easing up. Okay, pressing down, easing up. Okay. Okay, so we're getting some poinsettia going here, baby. All right, let's go ahead and do the other red ones. And the red ones are where your red dots are. Okay, there's a poinsettia petal. Let's go piece a bit bigger here. Okay, pressing down and picking up. Okay, pressing down, picking up, and shaping those. Gonna switch over to the orange here, back to the red. This guy could use a little point. Okay, see my poinsettia is, and it's and you don't have to worry about being perfect at all. Just get them on there for now, and then we're going to add some more color to them afterwards. But for right now, we want to put our poinsettias on here. Okay. Okay. So for those of you who are interested in taking lessons, we are resuming art lessons, weekly art lessons at the church, 10 Arlington Street. We are doing that on Friday mornings from noon, not from noon, from 11 to 12:30 actually. Okay, so if you are so inclined, come and join us. Lessons are $10 a lesson. And we used to kind of do that monthly, which because of attendance being kind of dependent on the weather and unfortunately COVID and all this good stuff, we have been doing it per week. That way, people are only kind of paying for the classes that they're able to actually attend. Okay, so at some point, maybe we'll go back to monthly, which might be easier for some people. I don't know. Or if everyone likes it, we can kind of keep it the way it is. All right, so we'll see. We'll see how all that works out. So these, okay, let's put these on here. All right, so here my poinsettias coming together here. So I have two more dots. Now remember that this one down here is not a poinsettia. Doesn't mean you can't make it into a poinsettia, but it's not a poinsettia on the handout. Okay. So I'm actually going to just go ahead, put my lines in here for where my petals are going to go. Okay. I have an awful lot of red paint out here. Some people get carried away. We won't mention any names. All right, so when you're doing this, um, doing this, just take your time and enjoy the process, please. And acrylic paints, which is what you are using here, if you're using your own set of paints and you're using something else, that's fine too. If you're using watercolors, not sure how watercolors would be on this particular material. So I would say stay with acrylics. You could actually do oil paints, but it would take a long time to dry, which is fine, just as long as you recognize that it is going to take a long time to dry. Okay, when we get to this bottom flower here, the petals are different because it is not a poinsettia plant. So I'm painting in the petals individually, just kind of bringing them towards the middle here. And the middle is actually going to have a little bit of brown and white in there. But for now, I just want to kind of get the shape of the flower kind of going on and inside there. Okay, so now we have uh, this is a white flower down here, and we can leave that out. As a matter of fact, maybe we will, only because, like I said, we're not completely round here. We have these sections going in. So what I think would be a really awesome idea, okay, is to go ahead. I have two. Let's do a third poinsettia over here. Okay, just so we're looking to do what is really good for our composition, right? Because we have a little bit of a different shape here, which is absolutely okay. And like I said, you know what? There's nothing wrong with experimenting and just getting a little bit of a different shape. Yeah, we have a different shape on our instead of a completely round. And if you are using a completely round shape, that is okay also. And if you decide that, you want to go ahead and put in more poinsettias or less poinsettias, absolutely okay. Encourage it absolutely, I encourage you to do that because it's actually more fun when it's your own design. Okay, so I am going to clean some of the red off of this brush because I would like to get some of these orangey highlights in here. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to clean this brush a bit, and it's not completely clean. See how when you do this on a paper towel, it still has red in it. Okay, at this point, it probably is okay. If I were going to a completely different color, then I would make sure that the brush was totally clean or that I used a different brush. But we are in the same family here. So I'm going to take some of this white and put it over here. And then I'm going to grab my orange and put some orange in there. And I want it to be kind of a light orange. Okay, let's get some of that in there. And maybe even, I wonder if a little bit of yellow would look good in there. Hold that thought. Let me try this on here. Let me experiment here. That looks kind of good. Let's put a little bit of yellow in here. And I think I'm thinking bright yellow. So I have my kind of federal gold yellow. And I'm thinking let's add that brilliant yellow. Okay, So I kind of walked away from the speaker here, and what I was saying there is that I have this yellow with some brown in it, kind of mustardy, and this is a very bright yellow. So if I can get it open, oh, look at the way it's on here. Okay, so I'm going to take my really bright yellow, and let's see what that does to this orange. I'm looking for something to kind of brighten it a little bit more. That actually looks pretty good. Adds another layer of color to it right here. Let's try some orange. Let's try some yellow with just the orange in it without the white. Oh, that gives us a really bright kind of color. And let's see what that does here. Well, that's kind of cool too. Kind of tissue papery looking. See? So I'm going to go ahead and use both. I think I will use this orange on here. Okay, so what I'm saying is this orange, I mix some orange and white, and then I mix just yellow and orange. So I have a kind of whitish orange, and then I have a really bright orange. And so I think using them both is a really good idea. So I'm going to do that. Right, so I'm actually putting them in between the red petals and maybe not as long so that we end up like with a different layer. Okay, that's pretty. Okay, so now we have another layer of petals here, and I'm going to do that to all these guys over here. So it gives us a number of layers of petals, and that's pretty much the way real poinsettias look. They do seem to have multiple layers of color. Okay, so let's do that there and there. Okay, so I'm ending on with that a little bit. Using my brush. I'm also going to put some on this little guy. And before you put yours on, look, I left the outside rim there. Okay, let's take a little detail brush and a little bit of brown. Okay, a little bit of brown here. This brown is thick, thick, thick. And I thought I had put some water in there. However, it might need a little bit more. A little bit more. Okay, so let's shake that baby up. All right, so I'm going to once again take my detail brush and I'm going to put a little bit of shadow underneath these petals. Okay, so if let me loosen up this brown here. Okay, my brown is very pasty. Hopefully yours is not like that. So let me do, what I'm doing is I'm mixing a little bit of water into it. So it's a little easier to work with here. And then I'm going to take some red. I'm going to add this brown to it so that I really end up with actually, very earthy kind of reddish color here. Okay, pretty cool, pretty cool. And so I'm going to take my smaller detail brush, pick up some of that color, and then I will show you, see if I can get in just a little bit closer here. Okay, let's see here. These back petals can have just a little bit of darker on them. Okay. It helps us to see the layers of petals as well. Okay. So we're just giving a little bit of contrast to our flower here. Can you see that? Okay, and at this point, I can go ahead and take some orange and put in some vein work here if I want to. Really gives me a nice, gives me some nice contrast in here. See, I don't know if I can get closer here. There we go. Painting up in the air. Okay, it's all right. I can do it. Okay, same thing here. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that to some of the others. See, look at that. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so this is now starting to give me some really, really good contrast here. Okay, can you see that? Can you see that? All right, so let's go ahead and do some of that for some of our other flowers. Other petals in here. And I will show you again after a little bit more work here. You'll see it really start to come to life. Okay, so this is just brown and red. If you do not happen to have brown as part of your paint palette, if you mix red and green, you will get brown. And you will get a brown that you like because you're mixing it yourself. Okay, so this part, again, red and brown, and just kind of get some different value in here. By value, I mean how light or dark something is. And if I get the background a teensy bit darker, then that means my foreground shows up a little bit more. Okay, so after I do my red background a little bit more, I am going to go ahead and put in some of those orangey petals, just because I like them. And I would like that for them to be a little bit, I'd like for them to show up a little bit more than maybe they do on the handout. And if you are liking the handout just the way it is, or maybe you want white, all white poinsettias, that's okay also. You are the creator, for sure. Okay, so this little guy, I'm going to give him some real contrast in here. Oops, I just did the wrong ones. That's okay. We'll do if you remember Bob Ross, whenever he would make a mistake, he'd go, "Oh, that a happy little accident," which I thought was great. And I'm like, okay, I like that. I had a happy little accident. Oops, let's do this here. And let's do all of our red ones. Now I only see 1, 2, 3, 4 red ones. I have 5 in mine, and I am going to put a big white one over here, and then we're going to go ahead and put in some of our stem work, which will be very cool. Okay, but still doing the brown and the red back here. And I think I need a little bit more brown in there. Okay, so when you look at your work, you should like it. You should like the colors and whatnot that are coming out of here. All right, if you think it's too dark, make it a little lighter. If you think it's too light, make it a little darker. You decide. You can decide. That's your job. Okay, you can shape them a little bit more if you want to. Okay, there's my other little guy. I'll wipe off the brush just a little bit. I put in my orange and my yellowy orange stuff. And I'm actually, like I said, making a different layer, a second layer of petals. So we did the first layer longer, okay, and then we put the orangey kind of petals over it, but not quite as long as the red, which makes them look like they are kind of on top, if you will. So they are a front layer. Now, these little guys over here, I'm going to show you up close, un momente. Okay, so see what I did there? I took a little bit of that darker color and kind of putting it behind the petal a little bit. Okay, and that's giving us some depth back there for that flower. Do you see it? Okay. All right, so let me do a little bit more work on it and I will show you again what it looks like. This, I'm going to take some of just the brown here, just go around the middle part of the flower. And again, if you're looking at that handout at all, okay, you can see that there's a darker section there, okay, right there. So we have like a dark green, and then it kind of has an off-white, whitish middle. So I'm going to take my brush and just dab it into the white paint, and then I'm just going to kind of dab it into the middle. I'm going to take some of this brown Mix it in there so it's not quite so bright. But see that? That was pretty easy. Okay, so now I want to, there's a little bit of that orangey whitish color in this flower as well. So I am going to take this orangey whitish color right here and I'm going to put it on some of my petals. And it's going to give them a, can you see how light that is? That little whitish type of area there. It gives them a little bit more, gives them a little bit more depth, I think. Okay, so I'm actually going to make some strokes. Yeah, so we can see them. Okay, I'm going to take my brownish red again and go right around here, a little bit darker, and around here, a little bit darker, into there. Okay, and then the same thing with some of these poinsettia. I'm going to take this, let me put this in the water. I'm going to take this orangey whitish kind of color and I'm going to keep it really thin, but I want to put some highlights on these really light orangey types of petals here. Okay, so I'm going to keep it, like I said, I'd like to keep it on the thin side. The paint, that is. Keep the paint on the thin side. Okay. And then I'm just highlighting these petals, right? So that has an opportunity to kind of dry a little bit. So I'm taking advantage of that. And like I said, it's very watery and I'm not putting a lot of paint on the petal either. Okay, and I'm just giving it some highlight. Okay, just a little bit of highlight in here. Okay, and if you get too much highlight in there, add a teensy bit of water to your brush and brush it on out. Okay, look how cool that looks. Yay. I like it when we do cool things. And you'd like to think, if you really put a lot of thought into your work before you actually even start it, you can get results that you can anticipate. Sometimes, if it's a commission piece, by all means, go ahead and measure it out and do what you got to do. But if it's just a fun piece, you know what? Just have fun. See where it goes. You know where the highlights go by now. The highlights go wherever you think the light is hitting your subject matter, or the subject matter is the things that are in your picture. Okay, so in this instance, okay, we're just assuming a head-on um, light source, right? Which just means that as you're looking at it, the light source is right in front of what we're looking at. Okay, so very lightly in there, putting that in. Again, it's difficult to paint with it up in the air. Maybe at some point, well, hopefully, I was going to say at some point maybe we'll get maybe a decent artiste, but video person, I'm better than I was, but better than I was is probably not as good still as it could be. All right, let's do the white poinsettias. All right, this white poinsettia has a little bit of that mustardy gold in it. or the metallic gold. I'm actually thinking not to use the metallic gold, but maybe this kind of mustardy color, and take that out of there. Okay, we knew it couldn't be easy. Oh, it's still in there. All right, so I made a humongous mess. This is a good reason to wear art clothes. All right, so I'm going to put my, and you can actually see the difference between the mustard colored yellow and the bright yellow. Now, if you have only bright yellow, take your bright yellow and add a little bit of brown to it. So this mustardy color is actually a little bit of brown mixed in. And the truth is that you can make it any color your heart desires. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing that I did to the ones up there. I'm going to put guidelines where I want those petals to be. Okay, just that little spidery thing. I'm going to take one of my brushes here, and kind of a small, medium small brush. Okay, and I want to use this kind of mustardy goldish color, and I'm going to put in these petals. Ooh, pretty. Well, it's still wet. You could dip into the white and loosen this up a little bit if you wanted to. If you don't want to, don't. I'm kind of liking the color that's coming out. So I'm mixing this mustardy yellow color, like I'm dipping into both paints. It has a nice reflective quality to it. I like the white in there. So I'm just taking this and using the guidelines that I put in. Okay, and make sure you have enough paint on your brush to finish the petal here. Okay, so this is kind of a very gentle, nice color here. I'm liking it. Okay, so let's put a little bit more white in here. Okay, the white's giving me a nice, liking the highlight that it's giving me. So I'm putting in more. Okay, if you like it, put in more. If you don't, you can put in more of the yellow, the mustard color. Okay. Okay, now we're going to let that dry out a little bit, and then we're going to put a layer of white petals in there. Let's see all these leaves and through here. Let's go ahead and put those in, or at least a guideline for where that's going to go. Now, I'm going to take my detail brush, or the brush where you cut off all the little bristly things, and I'm going to take my mustard color, and I'm going to, I want some leaves like right here. So I'm going to put in leaves, actually, not petals, but leaves right here. And then I'm going to put in a vine that kind of goes around here and connects everybody. Okay, so I'm actually going to come, I think, all the way up here. Okay, this out here, there's a leaf here. So make guidelines with your pencil if you need to, okay? And I'm going to do it with the paint just so you can see it. But you do it with your pencil in case you don't like it, you can erase it. Okay, but I'm going to do it here just so that you can see it. Okay, so I'm actually gonna put, well, this has some greenery going here, but also, let me see some greenery there. This looks like it's green. These are coming out here. I think we have some leaf work here. That's okay. So I'm going to bring down like some leaves here, I think, and some up here. Okay, and again, use your pencil unless you're really, really confident and you want to use your paint. Go ahead. Okay, so lots of leaves here, lots of leaves. We want, above all, we want this to look abundant. At least I do. I think they should be abundant. Let's do another leaf kind of out here. Um, oh, let's do one up here. Let's do one over here. Okay, so see how we're starting to get like a little bit of a connection there. Okay. So just kind of making it up as we go along. Okay, so you actually, as long as you have connection, right? So we just want to have a nice smooth connection here. I'm going to put another leaf here. Okay, and again, use your pencil. Use your pencil, kids. Okay. So see how we're starting to tie everything in here? Okay, so there is some going on up here as well. So let's go ahead and put some in. Like I said, don't worry if you don't get it just so. Okay, I want to show you what I'm doing here. Okay, I drew a line and then I'm just kind of wisping this here. Okay, so I'm just pulling the paint. Can you see that? Let me see. I think I can make another one. Okay, let's make another one over here. So I just put a line of paint there, and then I'm just pulling the paint off the side like this. Like I said, I'm sure once I sit down and try not to paint in the sky, I'll be good. I'll be good. I'll be all set. All right, so let me see. And you notice that I keep looking at the handout. All right. So while this is following a circle, we are following our pattern here, which just is marvelous that we're so versatile. Okay. So now I can go ahead and take my brush that I'm using to fill all this happy stuff in. And I'm going to, once again, mix white in that mustardy yellow color. Okay, and I'm going to start putting in some of my leaf work. Okay, so your pencil lines, all right, now's the time to go ahead and paint in some of these uh, nice nice leaf work that's going on here, and some of the wispy pine needles and all that good stuff. This is fun, and I just I saw these. I went to a workshop where one of my friends who owned her name is Melissa Venti Creations, and she did a workshop. She did a dotted mandala on one of these pieces, and I thought, oh my God, we could do lots and lots of stuff on these pieces. So I actually went and got whole bunches of them naturally. And it was funny because when I went and got them at the store, the woman's like, "Oh, I think you bought out all that my whole stock." And I said, "Oh," I said, "I'm so sorry." And she was like, "Oh no, don't be sorry." She said, "I think it's wonderful." So I was like, okay, good. I was glad she wasn't upset with me because I'm like, I picked up the whole pile and just kept them. Like, okay, I can do this. All right, so look, it's so exciting. It's so exciting. Okay, so I'm actually going to now this is probably dry enough for us to put our front petals on. Okay, so we're making double layers on these petals. Like, see how we have a dark layer here, and then we have a lighter one, and then we have even highlight on top of that. So now while this leaf work is drying, I'm going to take just the white paint and just do make some of these a little bit even more whiter, and I'm going to put them on top of the layer that's already there. And if you make them shorter, okay, they actually do look like another layer of petals, which is what we want. Okay, so we're creating them exactly the same that we did for the first layer, only shorter. Okay, see it? Only shorter. And then I'm going to do the same thing here that I did to the red ones, and that is I'm going to take this mustard color and add some brown to it. Okay, so here's my brown. So we have that mustard color, which is already pretty dark, right? Yet, if I go even a little bit darker, because remember now I added some brown to it. Okay. Okay, see what's going on there? And you can even do some veins. Can do some veins with it. And you can on the red as well, if your heart desires. I'm just going to take and go a little bit darker on these back petals. And when I do that, that makes the foreground petals really, really, really show up. Okay. So I'm actually going to take some of this and make some veins in here. And I'll show you un momente. Okay, so here's some vein work that's going on here. Let me see if I can do one standing up here. Okay. So make this teensy bit darker back here and over here. Okay. Okay, I'm also going to take this darker brown and actually add some to my stem. Okay, the stem that's kind of carrying all these leaves and petals around. Okay, and it's just, and if you want to, you can actually put in some veins in these as well. Okay, so you can put in a little bit of a vein in through here. Okay, just gives it a little bit more bite. There's a little bit more going on there. Because you can never have kind of enough contrast in some of these. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put some of this in here a little bit. Have some of these whiter petals on the top, which is nice, nice. These bigger ones in the back, which is also quite nice. They're very feathery looking here. Okay. All right, so I think once we get that, we're going to put in some middles certainly, but I want to kind of get those on last, right? So some of these gold leaves here, let's get a little bit. Again, we're mixing white with a little bit of this mustardy yellow color, and just put some highlight. Put some highlight on your leaves a little bit here. Nice. Give us a little bit of highlight going on here because they really have a nice, kind of have a nice sheen to them. Really, this mustard and white, I'm not sure that I ever used the combination before. I have to tell you, I'm falling in love with it here. I'm really, really liking it. So I am going to show you what it looks like with highlights on it. Okay, those are my highlighted words there. Okay, so I am going to, and we're actually going to put some browns and greens and what in the center of these babies. But for right now, let's go ahead and just kind of put in a dot of brown, and then we'll work the green around it, just again so that we kind of know where everything's going. And I'm going to put a little bit of, I'm actually just tapping. Okay, so I have my brown paint, such it is here. Okay, and now just tapping here, just tapping. All right, so that we know where our middles are. So go ahead and do that to all of the middles a little bit. So again, we're not losing them. I'm going to take a little bit of black and add it to this brown so that I can get it even deeper. Okay, and you may or may not need to do the same. If it's not quite dark enough, you can make it darker. Okay, that's what they're looking like. Okay, so let us go ahead, and I mean, we may add more gold to things and so on and so forth. I think it would be nice to put some more gold around some of these. But let's go ahead and let's put in some of our greens, and there's little berries in here. Wonder berries. And we have some pine cones in here, which is kind of cool, which means I might need my brown again. My brown that gives me such a hard time. Okay, let's try this brown. It really is so thick. So pine cones, I think we'll put in afterwards. Let's go ahead and put some green out on our palette. And greens, let's take the dried paint off here, put it over there, and give us a little bit of green. If you need more, you can always kind of grab more, but it dries out fast, so I hesitate to actually put too much on there. Okay, so let's figure out where we want to put the green first. So we're going to take our brush with not too many hairs on it. Don't tell anyone I told you to ruin your brushes. Okay, and I'm going to add a little bit of water to it actually. It's kind of a bright green, so I actually think I'm going to add a little brown to it as well. And what I get is this kind of earthy greenish color. Okay, and there is some holly leaves right here. So I am going to put those holly leaves in. Holly leaves, okay? So, and like I said, I'm kind of watering down these paints just a little bit because I want to make sure that get them in there. So you could actually do the same thing, that we did for the others, which is just put in your guidelines for now. You see them? Okay. So once I have my guidelines in, I can go ahead and get a little thicker brush here that I can actually put in. Yeah, see, I think that's a little too bright for this. Let's do. So if you like it a real bright green, by all means leave it a bright green. I am actually going to put a little brown in mine, and now I'm putting a little bit of white there. Okay, so wherever your lines are, okay, that's where you're going to put your holly leaves. Okay. All right, let's get a little bit more paint on the brush here, Joan. Okay, just got a little bit more brown on here. So now that I actually have paint on my brush, I actually have a student who she's a little bit older, and even though she's been taking lessons for a while, she's tentative about, putting the paint on her canvas or one of these. And so sometimes she doesn't have enough paint on the brush, and I'm like, put a little bit more paint on the brush. She'll go, oh yeah, okay. And sometimes, she'll be working with that brush, and I'll look at her thinking, okay, she's not going to get anything out of that brush. And sure enough, paint comes out of the brush. I'm always amazed. I'm like, ooh, she did it. Okay, so I am going over my guidelines here. I'm actually going to I'm going to put a green leaf in here because there's kind of a green leaf over here. And I like that there's some green inside there. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of this and add some green to this over here. And don't be afraid to overlap a little bit. It's what makes your picture look so interesting. Okay. There we go. Right, so I have a green leaf over there. Gonna add a little bit of white to it because the petals from this kind of whitish gold poinsettia plant is very they're very mild. So we're gonna keep those leaves a little on the mild side as well. And there's another little leafy thing going on up here. I'm going to add some green to this leaf. I'm going to add some to this guy. Okay, so to some of the existing leaves, I've added a little bit of green to them. You're going to take a little bit of that mustard yellow and add it to this leaf. How gentle that is. Ooh, ooh, I am so liking this. All right, so same thing over here. There's a little bit of green in the leaves. So let's go ahead. Let's do it to it. I'm liking that. Okay, so I'm going to take my little bit of green and kind of add this to here a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to be kind of gentle with it because the leaves are just, they just have a gentle amount of green in them. Really quite exciting. Ah, beauty, beauty. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so we have some actually green leaves coming around this little red guy, this little red flower here. So let's put those babies in. Okay, so again, guidelines, and you could draw them in with pencil first if you are so inclined. But actually, this is actually easy enough that I would say just go forth and conquer. Okay, so I'm just placing some leaves here and there, some of them behind, some of them in front, some of them very gentle. This one, this almost has a watery color look to it when I think about it here. I put a little bit of my mustard yellow in these just because I'm loving my mustard yellow today. Okay, there's some more leaves down here. Okay, let's put them in. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm using this very pale green, and it's a very brownish color green. Okay, so let's put this behind. I have a leaf going on behind here, I think. This can go here like this. And let's do another one over here. So I'm actually just putting in a bunch of little vines and things. Okay, so then we have a leaf going on over here. See? And another little guy over here. Let me see if I can do it up in the air. There we go. So these little tiny leaves are just basic teardrop shapes. So if you make a teardrop and put a stem on it, you're good to go. Okay. Okay, so while I'm here, I'm going to take my red and put in these little berries, which are, let me see, I'm going to put a berry here. Okay, and the berries can be different, they can be different sizes. They don't have to all be big, huge berries. If you wanted to, you could just dab them right on there. A little dab will do us. You could use, you know what you could do is use the back of your brush. Just dab them on there. That works awesomely well. And you can still make them different sizes, all right, just by not pushing so much on them. You can make them bigger. You can make them smaller through here. That looks quite awesome. Do we have more somewhere else? I'm like having so much fun. I'm like, I want to put them everywhere now. Oh, I'll behave. I'll behave. Okay, so that's them. Okay, so I am going to take this light green again in here, and I am going to do the middle of this little guy here. Actually, there's even another leaf over here. What color is that? It's green. It's a green leaf. Okay, so again, leaves are kind of brownish greenish in color. Okay, so I'm going to stay with that combination. I'm going to get a little bit more brown in there actually. There we go. Just come around here. Ta-da. I like it. I like it. What do you think? What do you think? Very cool. Okay, so this has, as I'm looking at it, it has some little, does have some little veiny things there. And I'm actually going to add just some whimsical type things. And you do not have to, or you can if you want to. I am going to make like these little S-shaped things going on here, like this. Okay, can you see that little S-shaped thing going on there? And maybe one in the front here, maybe one coming over here. But I like the little whimsical things going on. We could even put some in front here. There. I like it. I likes it. I likes it. Okay, so this, you're gonna love this part. Okay, so I'm going to take my green again and add it to my brown, like so. Okay, and I'm going to make it quite loose, which means I added a little bit of water to it. I want I want this, I want to put in some of these, look like pine needles. Okay, so I want to put one coming up from here like this, one coming over there, one coming out there. And actually, you can just put them wherever your heart desires. Okay, I'm going to put one here. I'm going to put one here. And I went right over my little flirt, which I did not mean to do. I'm going to make a leaf here, I think. There's another one going over here. Okay. So I'm putting in these little wisps of, and actually they're kind of like guidelines, more or less. Okay, I'm going to put one way over here, I think. And then there's going to be a green leaf coming this way. Okay, so this gives you a really good chance to play, and we like to play. We like playing. Okay, and you will notice that this wisp goes right over my gold. Okay, I want to have this coming out here like this. All right, so now watch the magic going on here. I'm going to take a medium small brush. Okay, and now watch what happens with this wisp over here. I have the same paint on the brush, and I'm going to choose this one because I'm thinking I'll be able to do it the best standing up. Okay, and then just kind of making this pine, just kind of dragging it a little bit down here. Okay, so you're just getting your brush. Now, if you think that this looks hard, okay, practice on a piece of paper, your plate. Okay, so we really want this really, it's a very loose stroke. I'm going to put one coming up from my J here. Okay, so I'm just pulling them along. I said I was going to pull it from my J. I pulled it from my Y. And now I'm pulling from my J. Okay. Just some fun stuff going on here. Okay, so wherever you put those lines, you're going to make them look like ferns. Okay, this is actually a leaf over here. So I'm going to put the leaf in, and there's another leaf over here. Okay, so let's put that leaf in. That one actually has a lot of brown in it. So I'm going to go back in with my green a little bit and add some green to it. There we go. Okay. So let's go back here and do the other side of this. And as you can see, it's on top of the leaf. It's on top of the gold ferns over here. Look what's happening. I'm so excited. Okay. Okay, so wherever you want to put these guys, go right ahead and put them there. Okay. So I'm going to stop just for a second, and I'm going to go back into my mustardy color here, and I'm going to work on this because I don't like what I did there. So I'm going to fix it. All right, don't be afraid to fix if you're not crazy about something, if it's fixable. Okay, sometimes things are so far in the background that it's difficult to kind of paint around them. But I'm thinking before we get too much more in here, let's do these gold leaves around here, only because we're going to put some more fern work. And some of it goes over that. Okay, so these leaves over here, let's go ahead and finish putting them in. Okay, I'm going to put them here. And where else? There's more down here. So let's go ahead and put them in. Okay, so this is nice and full over here. I'm actually going to go a little bit darker in these centers. Okay, just in the center here a little bit. So you're going to look darker in these centers. That will really pull out the middles for you a little bit. Okay, so let's, I think I want to put a few more up here because there's some around here that I really like. I would like to get them in. Let's go here. And don't be afraid to overlap, okay? It's one of the funnest things that you can do, and it really adds to your picture. Makes it look 3D. So even if you're a person who has not ever painted before, you can still get 3D effects in here. Okay. So I'm liking all of that. Okay, do I want any more here? Let's put some right in through here, I think. I think I could put one back here. Maybe some in here. Some little gold pieces in there. Very nice. I like the gold in through here, so I want to add a little bit more here. Okay, let's put a little bit more there. I have to tell you, I really like it. Okay, so let's go ahead and put in some more of our greens. Okay, so we have a rather large green leaf going here. Let's go ahead and put it in. And remember that these leaves are basically just teardrop shapes. Oh, we have a fern coming down this way. Before I put it in there, I'm going to put another leaf in here. Okay, I need a little brown, I think. Brown in there. Okay, so let's get another leaf going on in here, like this. Okay, this little guy down here. It's going to be a fern. Okay, so just going to pull on this a little bit. Okay. And once again, let yourself overlap. It's quite all right. I have another little leaf over here. Okay. All right, I have another fern coming up here. So again, the ferns are the browns and the greens. And once you have this little wispy line here, then you're just pulling from that centered line and out. Okay? Let's see how it's kind of going around here. Okay, I'm going to take, and there's another, there's a fern coming this way and one coming this way. I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. And actually added a little bit of black to it. Add a little bit of mustard to it. There we go. I'm liking that better. There we go. Okay. Let's get a little bit more going on over here. is kind of a white greenish fern over here. Oh, I'm really making up as we go along now. Okay, that's okay. We don't mind. Okay, there's a leaf over here, which is okay. Put another leaf over here. It's just kind of a small leaf in there. Telling you, that is so cool. All right, let's see. Let's see. What else? What else? Oh, I have a little. My joy to the world here. I'm gonna take, and I have black on there. I'm going to actually fix these a little bit here. There we go. Joy to the world. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add these little kind of, we call them flourishes in calligraphy. They're little connecting lines, certainly, but we call them flourishes. And that flourish, I'm not sure we want to keep there, but that's okay. We'll keep it there for now. All right, I want to put some green in our centers. See those greens going on there? Let's take some green. Okay, and I'm going to use the green and brown again. And there's some little bits of leaf work going on there that is just little green leaves that they're still, they haven't quite turned color yet. Okay, so they're still, they're the same, exactly the same as the petals that are there, but they haven't quite turned color yet. Okay, so we want to show them there, and maybe some here. So I'm actually taking the green and just making these little leafy types of strokes in here that we want to see. Okay, so it's like, okay, they're still growing, still growing. Okay, so just taking a little bit of white, a highlight. Okay, looking good, looking good. Let's do some here as well. And these are really going to be gentle. Okay, so I do have some green on them. However, I'm putting quite a bit of white as well. So it's a really light, it's like, okay, they haven't quite matured yet. Okay. So I have a little tiny flower, I think, that I'd like to put on here. Okay, my red paint is really starting to dry, but I want to put another poinsettia plant back here, just a baby one. See it? There's a little baby guy. Then let me take some orange. I'm going to put a little bit of orange in there. This little guy. I'm going to take my brown, do a little center, teensy bits of green. Isn't that exciting? a little bit of a leaf out here. Okay, and this is kind of some whitish, greenish leaf work going on over here in front of my wisp. Okay, so just some fun stuff. Same thing here. Let's just give us some leaf work. Okay. All right, so where else? Where else would we like some leaves? Just some little leaves, just to kind of give a picture, lots of interest. There we go. We have wispies over here. Let's put in our leaves. Okay, let's put one way over here, behind here. This. Let's put another one right here. Okay, so you guys are going to be master leaf makers here. You'll be like, oh my God, I could do a leaf in my sleep. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Okay, so I'm not sure I'm liking that little connection there. So is there really anything that I can do about it? Well, remember I told you about having your Q-tip nearby? Okay, so this Q-tip, I'm going to pick up some of this paint like this. And the Q-tip, I did kind of put it in the water first. Okay, pick up the paint. And maybe this one too. Let's pick it up. All right, I think I'm liking that better. Okay, so now after this dries a little bit, I can take my white paint. I actually have any clean white paint, and just put my white paint over this, and voila. Let's see here. Let's clean that tip. Okay, so now I have my break back. Okay, so I wasn't liking that continuous stroke going on there. So I just put some white paint there. And after that dries a little bit more, I'll even go and put a little bit more. Okay, for now, I'm thinking we have plenty of leaves everywhere here except over here on this side, right? So let's go ahead and put some in. Plus, I see where I wanted to make some wispy stuff going on over here. So let's go ahead. Let's do it. Let's do it, baby. So I'm going to take this green again, mix it in with the brown once again, okay, because I wanted to, don't want it to be bright, bright, bright green color. I'm just going to pull it out and make some wisps. Okay, in here. And your wisps, again, they can go in front of things. Okay. So I'm going to have, I think, a leaf over here, or a wisp. Okay, I'm going to do another leaf. Like right, I think I just painted my hot cocoa. I want another leaf right here. And again, do my stand-up routine here. So there's another leaf back here. There's one here. Let's do one back here. Okay, so we're starting to get some fill here, and I'm going to put some of my little wisps. Okay, we like our little wisps in here. All right, now let's put this right here, like so. A little bit back here. So take a look, see if you like it. And what we're looking for is any place where we think it might need a little bit more work, or a little bit more wisps, which this is looking pretty full. And I like when they look full. I like everything to look abundant. Yeah. Look at that. That is so cool. Okay, let's take a sip of hot cocoa. And while we're doing that, let's take a look at what we have going on here. Do we want any gold anywhere else? Do we want some green down here? Not necessarily. Maybe maybe a little bit more white on this guy so that he blends in a little bit better with what's going on here. Kind of liking that. And let's get this one a little bit more green so we get some balance. Maybe some light green in here. Let's get a little green over here. Okay, I liking it. I'm liking it. Have my little guy over here. What do you think? What do you think? Should we call this done? After it dries really good, sign it. Okay, you could sign it right here, or if you don't like signing it on the front, you could certainly sign it on the back, but I would sign it on the front. And don't forget to reattach your little your string. It's kind of a I know there's a real word for it, but it's a burlappy looking thing, or hemp maybe. Okay, so we want all that in there. See some of these kind of berries going on here? I think um, I think I would like some of those on there. We didn't put pine cones either. We want some of those berries in there. Maybe let's try. Let's put just a couple in and see if we like them. And for those little berries in there, I'm actually thinking kind of greenish, brownish, blackish. Okay, so let's try. They're actually pretty dark. Have a, I'm going to mix. What I mixed is black and green. Here's some green, and I darkened it with the black. So it's pretty dark. It's a pretty dark green, which is fine. Okay. And oh, I think I'll use again. Let's use the back of let's use the back of this brush to put in some of these. I'm going to where I see them are on these top pieces over here. So I'm actually going to put this in here. Okay, and there's another one that's kind of right here. Okay, and then there's another one that's up here somewhere. Okay, so now that I have them on there, I'm going to just pull them down a little bit like this so that they look like berries. This little guy's doing this. Here. See those little berries over here? These little guys. And then just wet the tip of your brush. Oh, okay. And so we want to connect these, but the connection wants to be very thin. Okay, and we can do that by just adding a little bit of water to the brush and just pulling on our berries a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more kind of black to. Okay, and then I see a whole bunch over here. I don't know that I want to put a whole bunch there, but I like the idea of getting some of the contrast in here. So I have one here and one here. Okay, and again, just once I have the dot there, I'm just kind of dragging the dot and making a berry out of it. Okay, there's another one here. Okay, so we can just dabbing the brush on here works rather well as well. Okay. So now I'm just going to put the brush in the water and then just drag, which I got a very thick line here. So let's take that out of there. There we go. Okay, so here's some really thin lines. Okay. So these are not difficult to do, certainly. Let's put some in the front. Where are they coming from? Who the heckles knows? All right, let's put some here. Okay. So again, just a little water on the brush and pull a little bit. Okay. So see how thin those little lines are. These are kind of cool. Okay, so there's another little guy that kind of comes over here. See if we can get it nice and thin. That's nice and thin. Another one here. So here's a whole bunch of those little guys. I actually think they look good there. Okay, that's around here. Around here. Look at those. Those are cool. Okay. So what else do I want to put those pine cones? I think we're going to leave the pine cones out. Okay. Leave the pine cones out of there. All right. I'm going to say done. I'm going to say Dunzola here. Okay. So after this dries out a little bit more, I would take my white paint and you want to erase any of your pencil lines that are still visible. How cool that is. It's even better than what we used for a sample. Okay. Let me see. I can do it. I can do it. The camera, the camera is backwards. What you see, what I see. Two different things. Don't panic. Don't panic, Joni. Okay. That's what I get for trying to do too much at once. But here he is. Joy to the world. All right. So again, after this dries a little bit, take your white paint and fix any little imperfections that you have. And after you erase any of your guidelines, because I can still see my pencil lines here, after you erase those guidelines, go ahead and if you have some metallic gold or gold nail polish and you want to put little dots or things in there, you certainly can do that. And after all of that is dry, go ahead and sign it. Okay? I'm going to put little white highlights in some of these dots, some of these berries here. Okay, I thought the whole was one. Okay, so this gives me just a little bit of shine on these little berries. Okay, so again, after it's dry, erase your pencil lines, put some white on any kind of error type things that you have going on, and then put a protective coat on it. Like I said, you could take nail polish and put little dots, or you could shine some of what's going on in here, or just leave it the way it is. It's actually quite pretty, just the way it is. Okay, so what I have said in other tutorials, and I will say it in this one as well. If in fact you don't have like a spray varnish or something on that idea, get some very inexpensive. It has to be very cheap hairspray. And I actually brought some down to show you. I say down because my art studio is in the bottom floor of my house. This is this I got this at the dollar store, and it makes my hair so stiff that I can't comb it after I spray it. So I was going to just throw it out, and then I decided, you know what? Let me try it as a varnish on some of this work, and it actually works quite well. So if you actually need, you can put a satin finish. This is a permanent protective satin finish. But like I said, if you have it, fine. If you don't, I would not run out and buy any. Actually would just, like I said, put a very cheap hairspray on it, and that will protect the paint, even give it a little bit of gloss. For those of you who have some of the, I think the hobby kits or the craft kits may even have some Mod Podge. Okay, so Mod Podge would be probably my first choice, and that will give it a little bit of sheen, and it will also protect the paint underneath. Okay, so my darlings, and then after you're done, connect this again so that you can hang it. All right, my darlings. Um, I am going to say good night for now. I am going to say once again, thank you to Bethany Lovelace at the Drake Council on Aging, the Drake Cultural Council, DATV, BATV, GHAA, which is Behavioral Arts Association, for carrying these tutorials to everyone. And like I said, Drake Cultural Council, Friends of the Drake Elderly, we would not have these. They are the folks that make these possible. Okay. All right. So thank you. If you have any questions, thoughts, ideas, if you would like to send me some of pictures of your finished work, that would be totally, totally awesome. You can take pictures with your phone and share them to my cell number 97880777608. You can attach them to an email, Joannissa, Joan as in Nancy, is as in Susan, at Comcast.net. You can call me with questions. You can call me with comments. You can just call me and say, hi, how are you? That would be okay too. All right. So until next we meet, because we have 2 more to do for this awesome holiday 2021 season. Okay. Until then, be legendary, my friends. Bye for now.